This is Dr. Kyle with All About Chiropractic. Today what we're going to focus on is the core specifically and ways to strengthen the core. And the core, when we think about it, is super important for low back stability. A lot of times when we have low back pain, we have a weakness in our core, so we want to focus on that. So the first one we're going to do is a plank. So we're going to be down on a mat or on the ground. And when we get in that plank position, once again you're going to notice knees are up off the ground, hips are nice and flat and level with that shoulder. Elbows are coming straight down off of the shoulder to keep the shoulder at the easiest spot as far as pain-wise and stuff, just to keep it stable. And then we're going to be keeping that position and holding really tight. Now, while we're in that position, what we want to focus on is engaging your core, but then as well engaging your glutes and your low back. So keeping those nice and tight to give us that stability in the low back, which is what we want to accomplish with this exercise. And hold that same position. You're going to notice the shoulders are coming straight down and the back is nice and flat here. Okay, and so when you're in this position, what you want to do is think about engaging the core, so having the core nice and tight. But then to add a little added bonus would be to lock in your glutes and your low back, so tighten those in as well, because now we have full stability in your core, which is what we're going to want. Okay, and now this one, try to hold it for 20 seconds, 30 seconds. You can rest if you want. Okay, 20 seconds, 30 seconds if that's easy. Go for a minute. Keep expanding the time that you can do it, resting and then doing it again. It's just going to allow that to strengthen, and we're catching all areas. If we engage that core and that low back and those glutes, the whole pelvis is going to lock in where we want it to be. So the next advancement off of this one that we want to do is we're going to do the lateral plank. Okay, now the lateral plank, it's going to be kind of the same setup, shoulders straight down from the body. And you're going to notice once again that we're nice and straight and parallel here. Okay, she's not letting her hip fall to the mat. She's not letting it pull too high up here. Okay, and with that on this, we're really engaging that lateral core on the side here, which is going to give us that stability. Sometimes this one can be a little bit harder of an exercise to do. Now make sure that we're working both sides. So if we can hold one side for 20, we're going to switch and go to the other side for 20 as well. Okay. Now the next one on this one is the taps. So we'll be back in that plank position again. Okay. Now this is going to be an advancement from that first one. So we're going to be up on our hands, and what we're going to do is we're going to bring one arm up and tap and then back down and switching. Okay, now you're going to notice right away one thing that we did here is on the back she widened her stance with her feet, and the reason why is because it's going to give her more of a base for her hips to make it easier to do the exercise and to keep her balance. Okay, now a variation from this, if this is too tough, go down to your knees for me. Okay, now keep your butt low. There you go. So we can do this same exercise off of our knees if it's too hard to do it off of our feet. Okay, so there's differing things to make it easier for wherever you're at, but the exercise itself would be the exact same. Okay, so we're going to come back up into that flat position. We're going to go into a plank, and the next one, what it's called, I call them plank up downs. There's a lot of names for these, but I try to make them as easy as possible. So once again, widen those back feet a little bit. Okay, and what she's going to be doing is dropping down onto her elbows on one side and then back up. Okay, and then again. And you'll notice that she alternated, so we're not just doing the same side repeatedly, because we want to develop the muscles the same on both sides, so we want to do them the same on both sides. Now a variation to that would be, once again, if we come down to the knees, keeping your butt low for me. Bring that butt, sink your hips in. There you go. Same thing where we're coming up and down. Okay, engaging that core, engaging those glutes while we're doing these exercises is really going to solidify that core and get it stronger. Okay, now a fun one to get the heart rate up while doing this is a mountain climber. Most of us have all done this. If you remember as a kid, we've probably all done it. But with that mountain climber, what you're going to want to do is keep that core engaged the whole time you're doing it, and try to keep your back flat and not let it come up or down. Okay? There you go. Just like so. So if 10 of them are tough to do 10. Move to 20, 30. As you advance, you can do more, which is going to make it a lot easier, but that's really going to get the heart rate up as well while doing these exercises. Okay, so the next one we're going to go into is more of your core specific workout on the core. So most of us are very familiar with the sit-up. It's one of those fundamental things of just getting out of the bed in the morning. Okay, so that's going to be our sit-up when we're looking at that. Now, there's different variations to make it a little bit easier. If you were to bring your feet flat, you can use your arms to propel us up a little bit if we need to. Or if either one of these are too tough, we can just do a crunch. Okay, where we're coming up, we're engaging that core, holding, and then going back down. Now, if you have neck issues while doing this exercise, I would just encourage you not to put a lot of pressure up on your neck coming up into that sit-up. Okay, maybe bring your hands more to your chest to make it a little bit easier so we're not pulling on that neck and the spine. Okay, now advancements off of this one, we're going to go into what I call a V-up. Okay, so essentially what we're going to work on is, you'll notice right now we're completely flat, and she wants to come up in the middle and touch, and then go back down. Okay, this one's a really tough exercise, especially if you've never done it before, to get the core coordinated enough to pull the upper half and the lower half together and essentially kind of bring them together in a sandwich. Now off of that is another variation which we call the hollow rock. So what you're going to notice is her feet and arms there, and then she's just going to rock back and forth. So there you go. Keep your feet straight. There you go. The whole time the core is going to be really, really locked in here, okay? And we want to rock back and forth. Now, you'll notice that right now her hands, you can rest, her hands are on her chest here, which is going to be easier than if she was to put her arms above her head and do the same exact exercise. Okay, so the coordination is getting this to happen while keeping that core completely locked in. It's almost like a boat that's rocking in the water is essentially what you want to do, but your core is activated the whole time, allowing this exercise to actually happen. Lateral taps and penguins. All right, so the next one is lateral taps, okay? So essentially what we're going to do is we're going to kind of hold that hollow rock or that V-up position, and we're going to be adding some lateral movement to it. So go ahead and come on. No, come on up. So your lateral taps, so you'll be V'd, and then you're going left and right.
Oh yeah, Russian twist.
Russian twist. It's another name for it. And so with that, we're going to notice the knees are slightly bent. If it's hard to keep the feet up, which sometimes at the beginning it can be, you can just rest the heels down on the mat or on the ground and do the same motion. You're keeping that core actively engaged. Okay, one advancement of this would be is if you want to add a weight to it. So if we add 5 pounds, 10 pounds, it could be a milk jug, it could be something very simple, but just going left and right is going to add a little bit more of a variable to that to make it a little bit tougher to actually do. And then the last one is a really good one too for our lateral core. So we're going to be back in that sit-up position. We call this one penguin. Okay. And so you're going to notice that her chest, her back is pulled up off the ground just slightly, and she's tapping her ankles from left to right, engaging those lateral core in order to make that movement happen. And so just rotating back and forth. Once again, if we have neck issues, just kind of try to keep that neck a little bit more relaxed while doing the exercise. But it's really going to work good to strengthen the core specifically. Now, another really good one while we're here for low back is glute bridges. Okay, and so with that, I'm going to have you go back to the beginning there. So we're in that sit-up position again. Now on this one, what I always coach patients to do is the first thing we want to do is think about your core and your low back, and we need to engage them both at the exact same time. Okay, and so what I have them do is, like, imagine if I put my hand under your spine and I had you push your spine down on it. So go ahead and do that. Nope, stay down flat. So if I put my hand here, smash my hand, push down into my hand. There you go. Now tighten your core. Now lift your glutes. There you go. And you're going to notice her motion. This should be about all the farther you come up if you've actually got the low back and the core engaged at the same time. You can go back down. Okay, versus if I didn't have her do that, go ahead and just do a glute bridge. You can go all the way up, go as high as you can go. You can see how much higher she can actually go. So by flattening that low back and contracting that core, it's going to lock everything in, and our range of motion won't be nearly as much. Okay. Now, a variation off of this one would be as if we bring one leg straight, just like that, and this motion is the same. So we're going to smash the low back down, we're going to contract that core, and then we're going to lift. Go back down, let's do a few of those. Switch into the other side, bring that leg straight up, there you go, and then back down. So doing, sets of 5, sets of 10 on this, where we're getting that repetition, rotating left and right, is going to be really, really good. It's going to cause stability unilaterally in the low back when you bring that one leg up, which is going to cause the body to communicate with itself in order to stabilize that core specifically. Now, if you did have a band, okay, not all of us have bands, but what we could do is we could put a band around the legs on each side, and then when that happens, what you do is you keep tension on that, so you pull those legs out just slightly. So while the legs are out, then we do the glute bridges as well. Okay, or we could do the opposite, where we put something in between here and we squeeze it and hold it, and then do that motion coming up and down, which are all going to be really good things to strengthen the deep pelvic muscles on the back side of the spine, which is going to give us stability in that low back specifically.